Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives and another episode of the best absolute daily hands. Now I'm kind of refreshing everything because the last time I made a lot of these informational videos were like 4 updates ago, before Lock to Lock, before Enter the Black Forest, before Amalfi Coast, before World Expo. So I want to see if anything really changed. So we're gonna find out today. So this is a very heavy video, guys, as in like I'm taking everything into account. Okay, like prize cards are going to count, duplicates are going to count. This is, in my opinion, the best possible hand that you can make without any compromises. Also in this video, I'm going to take into account the times of all these cars that are fully upgraded. Okay, not 1-star, not 2-star, fully upgraded. So very heavy video, but if you guys are interested to learn what are the best possible hands that you can make for every daily, then you're going to see the answers here today. Now, how does it work? Obviously, like, for example, the Peugeot Pikes Peak is the best car for the hairpin road as well as the slalom test. So let's say that there's a daily where there's a hairpin road and a slalom test. Obviously, I can't run the Peugeot Pikes Peak twice, although I'm counting duplicates. You can't run the Peugeot Pikes Peak twice because it's a prize car and you can only get one. So, the Peugeot Pikes Peak is the best for the hairpin. The IDR is best for the twisty circuit. When it comes to slalom, the IDR and the Peugeot Pikes Peak are the top 2, but obviously then I'm going to go with the aerial because we've already used the Pikes Peak to represent the twisty and the Peugeot Pikes Peak to represent the hairpin road. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Alright, let's get into it, guys. Day 1 on our dailies is 2010 times 5, and as you can see over here, this is the best possible hand in my opinion. You can run yourself an IDR Pikes Peak, a Zonda Revolution, a T16 Pikes Peak, and a Polo Intensa Emozione, and an Aerial Atom 500. So of course, all these cars have to fit within the requirements, or you're not going to see anything like the Thomas Müller, or you're not going to see anything like the Koenigsegg Yamera, or anything from, 2020 and above, because this is only counting cars between 2010 and 2019. Notes on this, there's going to be mostly, well, not mostly, it's all asphalt dry, mostly twisty, and 3 hairpin sets. Now, with every single daily, there's going to be 4 unique track sets, but in each slide, I'm going to use one of the 4 to represent what you are going to see in this daily. So I'm going to use the first track set of every single daily rotation, if that makes sense, to represent the daily itself. And in my opinion, the top 5 cars to use: the IDR, the Zonda, the 208 Pikes Peak, Intensa Emozione, and the Aerial Atom. Moving on to day number 2 is the 2-seaters. I'm going to say dual-seaters, 2-seaters. And of course, guys, I'm going to also give a counter for how many times a car is actually used as the top in these dailies. So now that we've seen the Zonda Revolution twice, now please do forgive me if I get the numbers wrong. I do believe I already know that I'm already gonna get the Apollo Intensa Emozione wrong, because I know that it comes up later on in the video, but I didn't put a ×2 on it. But I think for everything else it should be relatively accurate, but you know me and numbers, guys, I'm really bad. But it's a good estimate nonetheless. So day 2, best hand in my opinion, Jesko Absolute. That is the best car to use for the 1 mile. Mazda Furai, best car for the G-Force. Now, one thing that really surprised me when I made this, obviously all the times I got from Top Drive's records, so these are very accurate, right? The Mazda Furai shows up a lot. Like, it shows up a lot in this daily rotation. So Mazda Furai is actually very, very useful. And I mean, you know what? I can say that I knew it all along because I Blossom choiced it. But yeah, the Furai is just very, very impressive. It's playing with a lot of these 97, 98, 99s. So along with the Mazda Furai, the Jesko, obviously the Zonda comes back, P1 GTR in the Forest Road, best car for the Forest Road, and the Rimac Nevera being the best car for the hill climb. Moving on to day 3 is Italian cars ×5, and the best cars in my opinion go to the LC2, Zonda Revolution, Lamborghini Urus, Procar, and the Lancia ECV. And of course, the Zonda Revolution is back for the 3rd time, 3 in a row, man, for a car that has been in the game for a very long time and has been given out over 2 years ago. For it to still be represented 3 times already as some of the best cars is very, very impressive. Because when you think about it, the Zonda kind of came out at the same time with the Bugatti Chiron Sport and, all those cars, and you don't really see the Bugatti Chiron Sport in here anymore. I mean, you will, but only in the French areas. Okay, Moving on, rear wheel drive times 5 best represented cars. We have the FAP for the twisty circuit. The Koenigsegg Jesko is back for a second time to represent the testable, best testable car in the game. Mercedes-Benz C11 is in for the karting, Mazda Fury again for the G-Force, and the Peugeot 905B for the slalom. And of course, guys, you can always pause the video to read the notes at the bottom. The notes at the bottom kind of summarizes what are the 4 track sets that you're going to see in each daily. So for day 4, you're going to see asphalt dry with 3 slalom sets with 1 test bowl set, where the Jesko Absolute will win supremely. I mean, it'll just win by supreme amounts, if that even is a word, supreme amounts, by monumental amounts, okay? Alright, moving on now. Day 5, French cars times 5. And yeah, we got 2 mainstays in the Chiron and the Chiron Sport. It's always very interesting to see these OG prize cars, like, you know, cars before 2020, hit these lists. Because obviously, like, with more and more updates that come to the game, the prize cars get even more OP, you know? Like the 919 Hybrid, although it's not out now, not out yet, it is going to basically take over the dailies once it's out, let's be honest. But for now, nice to see these OG cars like the Chiron and the Chiron Sport representing 1 mile and 0 to 100, but obviously those cars are only there not because they're the best option to use. They still lose to, you know, the Peugeot 208 and the HDI FAP and all those kind of cars, just that you can only use that Peugeot 208 and the HDI FAP once. So obviously represented is the FAP. Second time we're seeing it, 905B, second time we're seeing it, and the 208 T16 Pikes Peak, second time we are seeing it as well. Moving on to day 6 is 2,000 cars times 5, and as you can see, it's mostly asphalt dry, twisty tracks with 1 drag and 1 hybrid. And again, we see the introduction of the Zonda R, Suzuki Pikes Peak XL7. The FAP is back for the 3rd time. First time seeing the Caterham on the slalom, and on the twisty road, the Mazda Fury back for the 3rd time again. Obviously, the Mazda Fury isn't the best car for the twisty road. The FAP is better, for example, but the thing is, we're going to use the FAP somewhere else. So we have to use the second best option, which is the Fury. And the Fury kind of ends up being the second best option on many track sets, because when you max it out, I mean, that's 108 handling on a very light car. Moving on now, day 7, German cars times 5. We say hello again to the IDR Pikes Peak back for the 2nd time. We also see some city street cars in the Audi Quattros S1, as well as the Porsche Taycan Turbo S. And then we also say hello to another OG prize car in the Porsche 918 Spider. The only reason why it's still here is because of the rain. If it wasn't for the rain, it would be replaced. But it's not. If it wasn't for the rain, I would put in Thomas Müller, without a doubt. But of course, you know, Thomas Müller is slick tires, and the 918 Spider is performance with 4-wheel drive, so it is indeed still relevant. And we also say hello again to the Mercedes-Benz C11, back for the 2nd time running. Moving on to day 8 is standard tires times 5, and we say hello to the Cadillac 16 3 times. This is literally just the Cadillac 16 daily. There's so many fast track sets on this daily, and the Cadillac 16 just reigns supreme. I would put the Caterham 7270 on that 1 super twisty track set, and the BMW 750i X-Drive on the hybrid track set, where it is the best car. We are going to be seeing this RQ89 BMW 750i X-Drive a lot. I'm just saying, more than 5 times. It is very strong. And actually, this video would probably make you want to get the 750i X-Drive. It definitely made me want to get it. But then again, it's only useful if you can max out the handling. Moving on, day 9 UK cars times 5, we say hello again to the P1 GTR. This is the one with 3 off-road track sets, 2 asphalt track sets, 1 twisty, and of course there is going to be gravel track sets as well. So be careful of the gravel. We don't want to run off-road tires on the gravel track sets, and that's why the F-Pace SVR is being represented. It's going to be used on the gravel track sets on the other track sets in this daily, and also the best car for the Forest River Crossing. We also say hello to some new cars that we've not seen so far in this video, like the Lotus Exige RGT, which many of you may have just won this week, MG Metro 6 R4 Clubman, and the Ultima RS. Moving on to day 10, 1960 to 1990 times 5. It is asphalt wet with a little bit of dry as well. 4-wheel drive fast cars are included here. We say hello to the Jaguar XJR9, representing Ocean Long Drag, being the best car for that. Ocean City Streets actually goes to the very useless 959, but I guess it isn't that useless if it's the best car here. Moving on, Peugeot Oxia, we see it twice. It is the best option to use for the fast and the twisty circuit, so having 2 of them for this daily will be very strong. And last but not least, for the twisty circuit, Being represented for the third time in this video is the Mercedes-Benz C11. Moving on, day 11, USA times 5. This is Raptor or die. Very simple. You have a Ford Raptor? Well, you don't need one, you need three. And then obviously for the substitutes, you have the one TRX prize car, and you have the Dodge Durango SRT for the quarter mile and the hill climb. But everything else, you kind of just want to use a Raptor. That's it, dude. Alright, moving on, day 12, Saloon times 5. We say hello again to the 164 Pro car and hello again to the 750i X-Drive twice. Best car to use for mountain slalom and hairpin road dirt when it comes to saloons. And then for the G-Force, best option is of course the Pro car, but since we're already using the Pro car in the twisty circuit, second best option is the Legacy. And for the fast circuit wet, your best option is the BMW M5 CS. So some new cars here representing Enter the Black Forest. Moving on to day 13, Japanese times 5. This is indeed the Fuckfest. Everybody hates this track set. I hate it, you hate it. Why is this even a thing? Hot take. One track set has two motocross, but as you can see, I think that in the best hand, I'm going to be using the Subaru Impreza Group A. It doesn't have high ground clearance. It used to, but not anymore. It has medium ground clearance, so it is actually going to DNF on the motocross. But here's the thing. Who wants to run two high ground clearance all surface tire cars on a track set where only having two of them will be useful on 25% of the track set, and for the 75% of the rest of the daily you want to use off-road tire cars anyway because of the city streets medium, where the Subaru Impreza will blitz any all-surface tire any all-surface tire Japanese car. You know what I mean? So this is why this is such a headache daily. No one should really be spending that much brain power for a freaking daily. But in my opinion, I think this is the best hand. You got the GTR GT500 representing twisty circuit. You got the 787B on the half mile. And for the off-road, we got the Escudo, the Impreza, and then you have the Vettel edition for the motocross because it's the best car for the motocross. But really, man, I'd rather just DNF on one of the motocross track set and win by 100 on the other three track sets in this daily. Moving on, day 14, halfway there, boys, 2 weeks in. First one is the Peugeot 208 WRX representing Ocean City streets. Obviously, it doesn't have all surface tires, off-road tires anymore. It has all surface tires now, so you can use it in the rain. We say hello again to the Rimac Navara Ocean Shore Drive for the second time, and for the first time ever, we actually see the Lotus Avia actually being useful. So it took about 2 weeks for this 100 RQ car to be useful. Anyway, still better than the Koenigsegg Chimera because you don't see that car once. Moving on, Suzuki Pikes Peak. Now, I think this is back for a second time, but I forgot to put the counter. And then last but not least is the Porsche 918 Spider. That one's definitely back for the second time, being one of the best options for the Ocean Highway. Moving on to day 15, 2010 times 5 Tokyo track sets with testable sets. You want versatility when it comes to this track set. And the best cars to use, we say hello again to the Peugeot 208 for the third time, GTR for the third time, Pikes Peak Volkswagen IDR for the third time, Zonda Revolution for the fourth time, and we say hello to a new inclusion in the Koenigsegg 11. Now, the Koenigsegg 11 is actually the it's the fifth. It's the fifth best car to use, the fifth best option to use for the Tokyo off-ramp. You know what are the four better cars than you know what are the four better cars that performs better than the Koenigsegg 11 on the Tokyo off-ramp? Well, the four better cars are the Revolution, Pikes Peak, GTR, and Pikes Peak Peugeot, which are all in this daily as well. So all of these cars are actually better than the 11, but we're using them in different track sets. So then the 11, being fifth, is going to be the best car on. So it's pretty funny actually to use these five cars together. Moving on is day 16, 2-seaters times 5. And we see the fourth inclusion of the GTR, the fourth inclusion of the Furai, and the fifth inclusion of the Zonda Revolution. This car is so incredibly useful, and I think mainly because, it hits 2-seaters, it hits, 2010s, it hits Italians, it hits rear-wheel drive. It has a lot of those niches, and that's what makes it so bloody impressive. Because a lot of the cars that this competes with, the Zonda, are 1-seater motorsport cars. So the fact that this is a 2-seater is very, very impressive. And also, Italian and, most Italian cars on the high end are 4-wheel drive anyway. That might change very soon with, Amalfico's prize cars being shipped out. But obviously this list is updated till the date of this video. And up to date to this video, the most recent prize car is the Mercedes C11. So there you go. But yeah, for this final, not this final, this daily, the best cars to use, P1 GTR, Levante, Furai. I think this is the second time we're actually seeing the Levante, so I should put it 2 times on that, my bad. And the Rimac Nevera, 3rd time as well. Moving on, day 17, Italian cars times 5. Now, all of these cars are new. This is literally just Lamborghini. Like, this is one daily just made for Lamborghinis. Like, that's it, because of the rain. So, your best cars for each track set. Lamborghini SVJ, best for the half. Huracan, best for the hairpin. Sesto Elemento or Pesto Elemento, best for the mountain slalom. Centenario, best for the mountain hairpin, and the Veneno Roadster, best for the mountain twisty road. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is the only time you're gonna see these cars. You're never gonna see them again for the rest of the video. So if you like these cars, then you know, just enjoy it. You're not gonna see them again. All right, moving on. Day 18, 5-seaters times 5. Also a bunch of new cars. We say hello to the Urus. Now this is the only time we're gonna see the Urus in this video as well. So a downgrade from the last time. And then M5 competition. I think this is the only time we're gonna see the M5 competition and the M5. Surprisingly enough, on 0 to 100, the M5 is better than the M5 competition. It's also better than the Charger Hellcat. Charger Hellcat comes second. M5 competition comes third on the 0 to 100. The M5 is actually the best because of that MRA buff. Stelvio is best for the boot or the butt and the lookout, mainly because it's 5-seaters, so you can't use those 1-2-seater off-road motorsport cars. So your Stelvio Quadrifoglio is a very strong car. Obviously, we haven't had the release of the Porsche Cayenne GTS yet, which will probably replace one of the Quadrifoglios. Moving on, day 19, 1985 to 1994 times 5, we see the 4th inclusion of the Mercedes-Benz C11. I'm loving this car, man, and I just recently maxed it out too. So every time I see that this is the best car for a track set, I just get happier and happier and happier because I have it and I have it maxed. Moving on, Jaguar XJR9 for the 2nd time, Peugeot 905B for the 3rd time, Alfa Romeo 164 Pro car for the 3rd time, and the GMC Cyclone for the 1st time. Yes, it is the best car to use for the wet, twisty road. There is indeed that one wet twisty. I know it says 962 simping at the bottom, but yeah, it ain't 962 simping anymore because obviously since the last time I recorded this video, now the C11 has been released, now the 905B has released, now that the Pro car has been released. Yeah, we don't need no 962 anymore. All right, moving on, day 20 hatchback, right? Yeah, day 20 hatchback times 5. Vive la France. I mean, literally, like, this is just a French final. Not a French final, a French daily. Because you have to use a T16 Pikes Peak. You have to use the Peugeot 208. And, you know, sometimes you can use the Banana as well. But the Banana isn't actually the best option if you have the Volkswagen Golf GTI W12. That car is actually better. So yeah, Volkswagen is best for the 1 mile. It loses only to the Pikes Peak, and not by a lot because of that top speed difference. So the Pikes Peak kind of caps out. It still wins, but the Golf catches up very, very close. So yeah, 4th inclusion of the Pikes Peak, T16. 2nd inclusion of the WRX. 2nd inclusion of the ECV, which is pretty surprising. 80 RQ car. I mean, not 80, 87, you know, in the 80s. Lancia Delta S4 taking the fast ticket as well. Moving on to day 21. GTR, P1 GTR is back. Tokyo Bridge for the 5th time. Now, obviously, this is the one track set where it's all rain on one track set, and on the other 3 track sets, it's all dry. And usually, guys, I'll be honest, for this daily, I just run slick tires. I don't care. I just run slick tires. Who the hell cares? But then again, I'm not going for first place. If you run all slick tires on this daily, there's no way that you're gonna get first place because people are just gonna exploit you for 3 stars on that wet track set. So you're gonna have to run performance tires, and the best possible hand performance tires is this, the P1 GTR for the 5th time, Apollo and Tenzai Mozione for the 2nd time. We had it on the 1st day. Jesko Absolute for the 3rd or the 4th time, something like that. Senna for the 1st time, and the Koenigsegg 1-1 coming back for the 2nd time. Moving on to day 22 is French times 5, and of course it's the same damn cars, bro. Chiron Sport, Chiron, FAP, 905B, Pikes Peak. Moving on. Day 23 is 2000 times 5, and look at that, for the 5th time. Mazda Furai. It's just crazy how often this car has shown up, you know? Like, it's a 93 playing with like 99s and 98s. I mean, there is no 99 here, but you know, there's a 98 and 96. Best car for the 0 to 100 is the Veyron. Best car for the half mile is the 908, back for the 5th time. City Street Small, City Streets Medium, best cars to use, Lancer Evo 8, as well as the Peugeot 206 WRC. Moving on to day 24, we have German times 5. This is the off-road German daily, and for the off-road German cars, you want to be using the Dakar for the motocross, Quattro for the quarter, and the Opel Kadett for the slalom. For your on-road representation, then you want to be using the Porsche 918 Spider, as well as the Volkswagen IDR Pikes Peak. Leistung! Alright, moving on to day 25. Yep. This used to be the daily where the DS numero 9 was the best, and that was because, the only legendary standard tire car the last time we did this video was the 16, and the 16 sucked in anything that wasn't a drag. So the DS numero 9 was the best, but obviously they entered the Black Forest, brought a lot of these heavy hitter 4-wheel drive standard tire cars, and as you can see, the 750i X-Drive literally is the meta. It wins everything. Like, it's like kind of like the Cadillac 16. The 16 wins any wet track or any standard tire track with a drag. Any twisty track set with a, well, yeah, any twisty wet track set now is just owned by the 750i. It's actually crazy. Best car for mountain hairpin, best car for mountain slalom, best car for karting circuit, best car for mountain twisty road. Now it's been represented 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It's crazy, man. It's only because of like 3 dailies, but yeah. Thing's crazy, man. The thing is freaking crazy. Day 26, Ultima RS is back for a second time. Avia is back for the second time as well. We also say hello to the Jaguar XJR9 again, the Senna for the second time, and the P1 GTR for its 6th appearance. I mean, this and the Zonda Revolution, I think, are very, very similar. You know, there are these rear-wheel drive 2010 just beasts that really are withstanding the test of time right now. So yeah, times 6, man. That thing is insane. All right, moving on. Day 27, 1960 to 1990s times 5. Best cars to use. We say hello again to the Mercedes-Benz C11 for the 5th time. XJR9 for the 4th. Pro car for the 4th. Lancia LC2 is back for the 2nd time. I totally forgot that when I was making the video, but we did see it once before. And the 787B is back for the 2nd time as well. This is basically just mostly twisty track sets with one kind of like hybrid, but this is literally just a Le Mans. Like, it's a Le Mans daily. Moving on to day 28, this is the one daily that I cannot win to save my life. It's just impossible. Now, it is pretty interesting because we've not had this daily since the Acura NSX has turned Japanese, so you can't use the Japanese Acura NSX anymore, I believe, because when I was filtering cars by just American and Top Drives clubs, the Acura NSX just didn't show up anymore. So if that is the case, the best option to use is kind of subjective, because on Twisty Road and the Hairpin Road, which are on 50% of the tracks in this daily, you want to use a Cyclone. But if it's the fast circuit wet, you want to use the Cadillac CT6 or even a Hennessy Venom GT. So it is going to be pretty interesting to see what car you choose for that now that the NSX isn't in play. Like I said, according to Top Drives clubs, NSX isn't there anymore. But outside of that, the other best cars to use would be the Demon, the Venom GT Spider, the Hennessy Venom GT, and of course the SCG. The one car that just doesn't want to come back for me. I just can't get it, man. As long as I don't have that car, and as long as there's gonna be no new American update with no new OP American car, I'm constantly gonna get destroyed in every American daily. It sucks, because I can run an entire hand of max American legends, but they're just not good enough because they're all like low RQ legends. They're all like the Vipers. That's it. I still love them though. Moving on, day 29 is gonna be Saloon times 5 again. This is the one where it has that annoying third city streets that I just tend to ignore. Kind of like the motocross on the Japanese daily. I kind of just ignore the one track set of the third Ocean City streets. Like, that one track set can go F itself. I don't care. I'm going to gamble it. So in my opinion, best hand. City Street small and medium. We say hello again to the Evo. Evo's actually the 2nd time being here. I forgot to put the number for that. 1st time for the Cadillac CTS-V. We also have the Charger SRT Hellcat, which is the 2nd best car for the 1 mile. Obviously, we can't compare it to the Pro car, because the Pro car is already going to be in the slalom, best car for slalom. 5th time it's back. And we have the M5 CS, 2nd time it's back for that 0 to 100 as well, being the best car there. Moving on to day 30, we have Japan times 5. This is an interesting one where it's 2 wet and 3 dry, so you can't use the best slick tire Japanese cars and off-road, but you can use the Escudo again. So 2nd time we're saying hello to the Escudo, 3rd time we're saying hello to the 787B, 1st time we're saying hello to the R390 GT1 race car, and for the wet, we are using the Pikes Peak again, as well as the Nissan GTR Nismo. And last but not least, guys, the final daily in the rotation is day 31, 4-wheel drive times 5, and it's all all off-road, and the best cars to use for this scenario is going to be, well, basically the motorsport cars, basically the Peugeots, right? So I have the Peugeot 206, the Peugeot 205, the Peugeot 205 T16 Pikes Peak, Lancia Delta S4 Rally back for the second or I think third time, and the Suzuki SQ2 Pikes Peak back for the third time as well. No space, literally no space for the XL7. It's off-road tires are supreme. They are the dominant force when it comes to the off-road meta. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. If you want to find the link to this presentation to kind of just look back upon, it will be in my Discord server, which you can always feel free to join. Link is in the description below. Obviously, you need to be part of the Patreon family. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. This presentation took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. I swear to God. Oh my God. I thought it would only take like an hour. It took like 4. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow.